Welcome, folks. This is Tom O'Brien of TFNN. We go 5 days a week. We go 9 hours a day. We go 24 hours a day on the internet at TFNN.com. Always remember, folks, whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows. Hope everyone had a great day, safe day. Let's make it a great night, folks. Let's take a look at one of our 4 agreements. Your heart is like a magical kitchen. Your heart can create any amount of love, not just for yourself, but for the whole world. Open your heart. Open your magical kitchen and refuse to walk around the world begging for love. In your heart is all the love you need. Market-wise, let's take a look at it out here. We had the Dow Industrials up 292, NASDAQ up 46, S&P's up 31, gold contract down $11, trading at $1,218 an ounce. Silver down 7 cents at $19.77 an ounce. Platinum off 11 bucks at $1,337 an ounce. Copper flat at $3.31 a pound. Light sweet crude up 36 cents, trading at $97.58 a barrel. Bonds 10-year down 11 ticks at 124.06. 30-year down 16 ticks at 129.11. King dollar up 381 ticks at 80.59. The euro down 76 at 136, and the yen up $1.42 or a penny and a half at 104.10. Our phone number is 877-927-6648. Give us a call, folks. Want to know what's going on in your world? In the world of the S&Ps, let's take a look at them. What do you have? Volatility in spades, folks. Price spread extraordinaire. Price spread out here today, folks, was 42 S&P points. So we got into a low of 1767. We closed out at the high. We're at 1807. We did 872 million thus far. So what you have here is this, okay? The Fed is going to do 75 billion versus 80 billion, 85 billion. Market went down first, goes up right after it comes down. Now the market is pushing into the highs and actually pushing into the highs with volume, okay? So if we take a look at the SPY, this is what you have. The high in the SPY is 181.67, 181.75. That baby, at the first time that we were up there, had 58 million shares. The second time, you had 70 million shares. There's a case that can be made here. Is, you broke a lower swing, you come into it with volume, but guess what? You hung up, you close at the highs. Bottom line is that what this wants to do is probably spike this high. We'll see whether it can hang over the high, but I expect you're going to see it spike it tomorrow morning. Dow Industrials, what you have with the Dow, up 292, closes out at 16,167, and at 16,167, that is a closing high for the Dow. The last closing high out there was 16,086. It had made a high of 16,174. NASDAQ Composite. Now, the Composite was weak out here. You had Apple getting hit with J-Bill getting hit. So what you have is this. The Composite up $46, 2.2 billion shares, and the same is applicable on that. It's like, okay, you broke a lower swing, you broke that with volume, but guess what? You are pushing into those highs. Last high in the Composite was 4081. That closing was 4068, and it closed over that number. So that's saying that also wants to spike that high. We go look at the 3Qs. Inside the 3Qs, we did 66 million shares. The high in the 3Qs out here is 86.53. We are at 86.14 right now. Gold contract. We take a look at gold. What we have with gold is this. GCG. Okay, so gold down 10 bucks, 149,000 contracts. Now gold, the number on gold, folks, is 1231.60 in this contract. Meaning, if you're a bull, you want to see it stay above that. We gave up 10 bucks today. You did that with 149,000 contracts. Now that is lighter volume as you're going into that low. But bottom line, we want to see that 1210 hold. That isn't the low in this contract. The low in this contract is 1187, but I'd like to see that number hold. Bond market. We take a look at bonds. First with the 10-year bond. 10-year bond out here today. Volatility and the price spreads out here are pretty amazing in almost all these indices. Bonds went to a low of 123.25. closed out at 124.06. And with that still saying in the bond market, which is pretty wild in the context that they laid off a bit, meaning in the buying of bonds, they went from 85 to 75, is that's really a flat market in bonds. You had 1.2 million shares, and that was actually pushing into a higher swing with volume. And you can make the same argument where they push into a higher swing or lower swing, because it did both. We go take a look at the 30-year bond out here, the USH4. So the 30-year bond didn't break its lower swing, did 344,000 contracts. That, the same argument can be made that you're pushing into a higher swing and you're pushing into that level with volume. Dollar index. We go take a look at the dollar index. What the dollar index did out here, you talk about volatility. So she goes to a low of 79.50. The swing low out there was 79.35. Excuse me, folks. She closes out at 80.59. She does 34,000 contracts. And that's saying that, Dave from Clearwater is going to more than likely be right here. She's going to probably, it's a close call, but the next place that she wants to run into is about 10 ticks higher. You know, if she gets over 10 ticks higher, meaning 80.61, then she wants to make that run, getting up to the 81.73. We take a look at what you had out here this morning, folks, was Jabil. So we'll go over to Jabil for a second. Jabil's one of the largest subcontractors in the world. They come out with numbers. When Jabil come out with numbers, what you had, that was down $4, monster volume on the way down, price spread, all of the above. Jabil did have a high volume low out there at $13.94. It's hit $15.30 at this particular point. Inside that context, because of Jabil, what you had out here this morning is that Apple gap down. The gap down in Apple, it had opened at 549.79, got to a low of 538, has big volume down there, made it back somewhat. It's still down $4. What you do have now at Apple is this, is that you did 20 million shares. You got to that price point of 538.80. That was going into the 539.25, which was the 29th of October. It was going into that date, meaning that, and that is a high volume date, but that just come into that with too much volume. So you come in with 20 million versus 22, and that's lighter, there's no doubt, but that's force on the way downtown. Some of the other Dow stocks, we take a look at some of these Dow stocks out here. We had Honeywell was up $1.97. You had Big Blue up $2.94. I don't think there's let me just see if there was any Dow stock. Boeing was down, but I don't think there was any Dow stock that was actually down. Yeah, Boeing was the only Dow stock that was down. That was down 29 cents. Every other Dow stock was up. Ford came out with numbers, I think, and Ford, that pulled back $1.05. Federal Express, FDX, that came out with numbers this morning. Federal Express ended up closing up 63 cents. The low in FedEx today was 137. The high is 139, and there's not much there. The higher volume stocks, what we have is this. You had Bank of America was up 51. Micron Technology, that was coming downtown. That was down $1.11. We had Intel up 49. GE was up 38. Wells Fargo is up $1.34. J.P. Morgan 152. Let's just go see what these banking structures look like. JPM. Okay, so watch this. It's kind of interesting. In J.P. Morgan, this is going to be interesting here because J.P. Morgan, this is actually a last engulfing. A last engulfing on the way up, folks. Looks bullish, but it's bearish. You stay right there. We're coming back with our man, Mr. Steve Rhodes. And when you look at SAC, folks, that fund manager, SAC, he was guilty on all accounts. So Steve Cohen has got more problems coming at him. We're going to be right back.